You know what? Jack Harlow dropped a really dope album today.
Oh, look at us.
No, for real. Like I got a lot to say about this album. Are you ready to get on this? I think it's called Jackman. Let me get to this track list here. Jack Harlow released the album today. Kind of a surprise album, I guess you would say. He gave us like 2 days notice or whatever. Announced it Wednesday. Dropped the album today. It's 10 songs. I want to say it's less than a 30-minute play. But from beginning to end, with the exception of maybe like one or two joints in there that, aren't bad, it's just, different mood or whatever. I think he dropped a quality project. And it starts off with one of the stronger songs on the album. I think Common Ground's very, very strong for him. And one of the things I do want to mention, it starts off very soulful. That's one of my big observations. What are some of yours before we really get into it?
I have a litany of observations. Some of mine are very similar to yours in terms of the soulfulness. I
Hmm.
think maybe we should start right there. You know what I heard production wise? No, first of all, before we do that, I want to start off by saying this. Proof that people follow us and listen to us inside this music industry is all over this album.
Why do you say that?
Because everything that we said the album wasn't, and the Eminem talk about the lack of soul, don't tell me that the people who are responsible for him haven't heard our rhetoric over and over and over again over the course of 3 years, especially your Eminem soul diatribes, Mike. Your Eminem soul diatribes they're legendary at this point.
Well, he's proven that he can do
I
some
mean, I'm
things
to
that
the point of
Eminem
writing
can't.
whole books while you do your diatribes now about the lack of soulfulness. It's like, yeah, let me just work on this poem right quick. Um,
He's proven to do some things on tracks that Eminem hasn't been able to prove to do.
Hold on.
Well,
So
proven to do, excuse me.
you want to start with the soulfulness of the project
Sure.
because
Yeah, yeah.
okay, well, I feel like the people who designed the projects, the album, sonically and thematically, this has shades of the blueprint. I can see the inspiration of Jay Z's The Blueprint on the production of this album in terms of like, well,
They Don't
we
Love
can't,
It, that song specifically.
a lot of it.
Yeah, that
Just
song specifically sounded like All Around the World from the Blueprint 2 to me.
it. I was actually going to say some of this stuff is very much more Blueprint 2-ish in the soulfulness because he's not hitting the mark, obviously, like Jay is, and the samples aren't as soulful on the Blueprint 2. You know what? I was actually thinking these beats have shades of somehow, some way on them.
Mm.
The Beans Face and J joint, they have that type of kind of like subtle soulful nature to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like the beats kind of trickle and dribble in a soulful nature. It's not James Brown soulful. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And and like you said, Mike, they did an excellent job of providing him a soulful soundscape. In my opinion, these beats are dope. So, the production is there and his flow is in pocket. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you what happened. Because I got in the car with my daughter and I was like, so look here. I was like, so we got to listen to the Jack Harlow. Mike, when I told her that we got to listen to the Jack Harlow, she threw me the Rock Nation brunch post. She looked at me. She was like, I was like, nah, I heard it's dope. She looked at me again and hit me with the pose from the other side, like, what is you talking about? I was like, and we cut it on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, the first joint. What's the first joint called?
The first song, which I think is the strongest, Common Ground.
Common Ground. I don't think it's the strongest song, but when we both heard it, we were like,
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And I'm gonna tell you what I like about it. He has a chip on his shoulder, very similar to Eminem, but his chip feels different, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like he feel like he Rodney Dangerfield up in here. He's like, hold up, I'm not getting enough respect. I
Yep.
can legit rap. Let me show these motherfuckers. Like, let me. I felt like this album was kind of like a shot at us. And to that, I say salute because it's like he's like, no, let me show these motherfuckers talking about me
Mm-hmm.
that I hear what they said about me on the last joint, and I'm
Yeah.
about to show these motherfuckers that I know how to rap. Damn, selling out some stadiums. And you want to know what? I can't do nothing but salute that, Mike.
Yeah.
That's some rap shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some rap shit. That's like it's like, oh, okay, you feeling some type of way? About time.
Take
So
it
was
to the
I.
music. Take it to the studio with it.
Right, take it to the studio. So he took his angst to the studio, which is what hip hop is there to do.
Yeah.
And then he executed on record. So
And
I
then he
can't do nothing
addressed
but
a lot of
respect the
things head
project.
on. He addressed a lot of the
He addressed everything
naysayers,
head on.
yeah, and everything on that level head on. Jay Short with the super chat says, as much as I don't want Jack Harlow thing to happen, I blame the other rappers. No one wants to take that the number one spot. They're doing niche albums. If there is a big DMX or 50 outside, this doesn't happen. Yeah,
Bro,
that's one of the
that's
things I wanted to address too, because I do respect the fact that I feel like Jack Harlow wants this, right? He wants to be the best. I think the quote that everybody's kind of running around with on social media is from "They Don't Love It," is the song where he says he's the second white rapper next to Marshall or something like that, or something to that
yeah,
degree.
yeah.
He wants to be the best, and there's a lot of people in this game right now who just want to vibe and just want to do their thing, and it's not a lot of people of his generation that are out here willing to work to be the best, and he's trying to earn that. I think he saw after the album that dropped last year that it wasn't going to be a given. And I remember when right before that was dropping, again, it dropped in between, I think, Future and Kendrick Lamar's releases. He got on Ebro in the morning on Hot 97. Ebro proclaimed that it's going to be the last time you're up here because you're about to blow up. And when people blow up, they don't come back. So there was some real, he had promises made to him that all he had to do was make an album. The radio was going to just play his single like a million times a day, and you were going to be in that Drake spot. It didn't happen like that. The people didn't fall in line with what was being pushed. And I think Jack Harlow, as an individual, realized that, you know what, I'm going to have to earn this. And he had no problem with that. He went back to the gym. He went, which is the studio in this case, saw where his shortcomings were, and he went out there and executed, and he addressed it all. And I can't do nothing but respect that. And it also makes me feel like, not to be the dead horse, but hearing this and hearing how he wants to be the best, and like you said, he felt that he wasn't getting any respect. I'm like, damn, Eminem never really went through this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he, based on who he was already linked with, everybody already gave him an open ear. And even before all this, top 10 talk started, he was still able to thrive and, make music for the people who rocked with him. He never, in that time period when he was in his prime, was even talking about being the best MC like that. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't even in those conversations. And that's why him being in those conversations after the fact, I'm always taken aback by. And
He was
go
he
ahead.
he said some things here and there around that time, Mike. Like I remember him saying the flow's so wet, nobody close to it. And something, 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 but everybody knows the shit. No, no,
Well, I
he
mean,
used to
that's
talk
that's
shit.
rap shit. You know what I'm saying? I think the first
Well, I
time
mean,
he
it's different.
really,
It's different when people in his position are talking their high level rap shit. I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
well,
to
what I
cut you
was
short.
gonna,
I just remember the bar work being like, he talk a little greasy to you from time to time in his heyday. Mike, yeah.
I remember the first time. Well, I guess the first time I felt like he was inserted with other MCs in that way was on "Till I Collapse," when he came with that top 10 and he, had himself at number 10. But before that, I don't know. It just felt like, he existed in his lane, which, not a lot of people made up at that point. He kind of was on his own in that regard outside of like Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock and, from a marketing standpoint. But I just never, you remember at that time, man, Jay was talking about being the best. Nas was talking about being the king. I've been that and all of that, from Made You Look. DMX even, like just the vibrato, and those were hip hop's top guys. And I feel like M never really had to intermingle in that mix. And after the dust settled, it seemed like he retroactively got in that conversation. Whereas that's not happening that way for Jack Harlow. He understands that, I'm just gonna have to insert myself. Because if I
Well,
don't, I won't survive out here.
you know, if Prince were here, he would actually be proud to a degree because here's the thing, like the independence of the artist today and the stake that they have in the music industry has affected the industry because they can't give us a Jack Harlow anymore and it just succeed on every level the way that it used to.
Mm-hmm.
The industry is different now because the artists have more control.
Yeah.
In terms of like their independence, in terms of how it gravitates and navigates the behind the scenes waters as well. And also too, because there's more independence, the streets actually might talk as much in the business now as they ever have because there's not as much actual industry politics because there's not as much industry because there's more independence.
Exactly. And even from a
Which is what
media
Prince always
standpoint,
stressed everybody to have: owning your stuff, owning your masters, doing your own thing, creating your own industry. And so if Prince were here, he would be proud because what happened is that the industry tried to feed us something. Not saying Jack did, I'm saying the people that you're signed to, your team, everything that comes with it, they feed you this and they feed you the image and they tell you that you have to rock this. And that's fine. But what we really said back is like, nah, I can't eat that food, homie. Give
and
me
you
the
know
food that
what?
I want to eat. And he actually did.
Yeah.
And that's old school, Mike. That's back in the day shit where it's like, you know, the streets would talk about you out and be like, fam, that ain't it.
Yeah.
That's how Common made be, Mike.
Yeah. And you know, it feels like
I don't care how many J Dilla beats you got. We said it's not it.
it feels like the industry wanted him to make that album he made last year, and this is the album that he probably wanted to make more. At least that's how it feels. I don't know that to be true, but I do remember him saying that he didn't like First Class, and this was before the song was getting played over and over and over. So it's like, if you didn't like First Class, then who put this on your deck to get done, right?
You know what it is, Mike? And this is what I mean. You got to respect it. It's like, well, he got the white privilege and he got the sold out arenas already, and that wasn't enough for him.
He wants the respect.
And that's usually enough for a lot of people, black or white.
No, you're right.
For that matter. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. It's like, no, I can't do nothing but salute the effort because it's like, oh, no, you got on some rap shit. I'll tell you what, hold on. Gang, gang, gang.
You like that?
That's a Song of the Year contender, Mike.
Think so? Okay.
Yeah, I do. It's like that. I heard that. I mean, a couple times when Ambitious came on and when Gang 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 come on, me and Sade looked at each other like, what?
Yeah, that's his storytelling.
Each other like, what? And you got to keep in mind, this 16-year-old and 41-year-old, and we looking at each other like, you hearing this? Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
No, it was like that.
BCMD Dub with the super chat.
A year ago, Mike, we was in the car in the same situation on a different album with the same guy, and she was like, "What are you doing? Cut this off."
Yeah. BCMD Dub with the super chat says, "How do y'all feel about the clip floating around on Twitter with Benny forgetting his verse from Johnny P's Caddy while performing?" Didn't see that, but it happens. It happens. Jay Short with the super chat says, Jack Harlow pulling a 2011 Dirk, like, oh, y'all don't want it? I'll take it. Yeah.
It's a pretty dope album, Mike. I mean,
it's like a dope album.
Gang, 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 ambitious.
Yeah. What was the other record where he kind of addressed a lot of things? It Can't Be.
It Can't Be.
Yeah.
That's another one, Mike. Know what? How about this?
That was addressed to me. No, I'm just kidding.
It's definitely addressed to you, Mike. It's for you. It's for you and your diatribes, Mike. For your Eminem and your Harleezy diatribes. We can call him Harleezy today, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Came through like a champ. His people gonna play this clip. They gonna be like, "You made it."
All right. Look, he addressed his white privilege, like a lot of other MCs do. But he also addressed it in an unapologetic way, where it's like, nah, like I might be this, but I also did this, and this, and this. And that's why when I hear that, it's like, okay, he's willing to work for this, which is cool. Keep up the work. And I think this is actually going to fit in well with the White Man Can't Jump reboot, which is that's coming out like next week or so. I could hear a lot of these records actually in that film.
Hold on. I'm about to say, first of all, it can't be as definitely in the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my notes. It can't be as I put it's brilliant. It's tongue in cheek. Listen to what I'm saying. I was like, I know it's part of the film, but listen what I'm about to say about the record. These are the type of records that Eminem used to make that we used to actually like respect when he would like do records like this. Like, you know what I mean? It can't be. Like, he has records like that where it's like, no, you can hear that he can flow, but you can hear him addressing like the elephants in the room, but addressing it in his way. And that's what I
Right.
mean. Like Harlow got a way of addressing it his way. That's what I mean. The chip is different. And so the approach is different. And his is like tongue in cheek. Like, this reminded me of something that would have been on the Eminem show when I heard it came.
I could see that. Blame on
Yeah.
Me too. I could hear in the actual, film as well. I think they did a real good job of making some of these records sound cinematic from a production standpoint. But like you said, he's in pocket. Flow is there. It's definitely a win for Jack. I mean, it's short, to the point, and it's not one of those records where, again, no features too. That helps as well, because I think that the one that came out last year was carried by features. He doesn't sound as much like Drake as he did on the previous one, and yeah, I think this is
Jack
more
Harlow.
close to him getting his own identity from a mainstream standpoint.
He's got a really silky flow, Mike.
Yeah, he can rap. He can rap. I give him that, and I dig the
That's silky
approach,
flow.
and I dig. I think they got something to go with on this. Like him and his team, I think they can really use this momentum, even if this is one of those albums that doesn't break streaming records, even if he doesn't have like a hit single on this per se. I think this is something to get that respect to build on. Because like I always say about, Eminem, and of course we're gonna always mention him in this regard because even Jack mentioned him. They did an incredible job of setting him a foundation before they went all out mainstream on him. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to the battles, to the freestyles on radio, to the collaborations that were early. They didn't just jump out there and say, yeah, we're going to be like, they didn't jump out there with the Marshall Mathers LP first. Because the Slim Shady LP was kind of a slow burn. That wasn't just a, straight out the gate, I'm doing 10 million thing. Even though he did do pretty well on it. He did. So yeah, I think you're on mute, Coop.
No.
Oh no, I hear you. You said something and I didn't hear anything. But yeah, overall, man, I think that believe it or not, this is one of the strongest efforts of the year. And I say believe it or not because we really weren't high on the previous one. And I think this is a complete turnaround, and I think this is something to definitely build on. But this is what I would like for the other MCs in his I guess generation to do. Like, want it as bad as somebody who wants to be the best. Like, why is he the only one that wants to be the best? It seems like
It's not cool to be the best anymore.
I guess people don't care like that. Yeah,
Participation trophy type of thing now. It's very problematic.
yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you, Mike. We need to start maybe organizing albums of the year. What did we give the Black Thought? Was that a 4?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was a 4. The Sky Zoo?
I felt like that was like a 4-2 or something.
We might have to revisit that to see how it's holding, though.
Yeah, we got to revisit that because that came out in January. Man, it's almost May already. Crazy.
How about that Logic?
I like the Logic.
Liked it more than the Sky Zoo?
Huh. I'm gonna go revisit the Sky Zoo and this. And that. Excuse me. What did you think about in comparison the Logic and this?
I think this is better.
You think this is better than the Logic? Okay.
Let me listen to the Logic again before
It's
I say
you know what?
it might be the same level.
On a technical level, obviously, I would say Logic is the more gifted lyricist, right? But I think Jack Harlow has a level of, I guess,
It's
I don't want to say,
conversational.
yeah, I don't want to say relatable, but it's the
No, he's got a conversational
palatability.
flow.
Yeah. he's able to kind of flip it up, and he can do. I don't want to say he could do more. I think he has a better rap voice. Let me just say that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
I would tell you that I think the Skyzoo is probably a 4.1. That Logic is a 4.2. What about the JD Currency?
I like that a lot.
Me
Um,
too.
that's definitely a 4-2.
Okay, so you're saying this is as good as the Logic?
For an EP, yes, because it's jamming. Like all 4-2s aren't, the
No, no, no,
same.
no.
But
No, no, no. I get it. I'm just,
yeah,
I'm just asking questions. The J Skis.
I think that's the 4-5.
Skis is the 4.5. Now, skis. All right. Who else are we missing? That we kind
Everybody's
of.
so shocked at our take on the Jack Harlow. Um, I mean,
Really?
look, the music spoke for itself, man.
Well, what else are we missing? What
What else are we missing out here, guys? Man, it's been a very light year. Right now, I think Jay Skis does have the album of the year. Um, I feel like we're missing something though.
People will let us know. What do you think of this, Jack? What are we giving it?
I
Oh, I need to listen to that
think
Mark
it's
Homie and fucking.
yeah. This Jack is good, man. I mean, it's definitely a 4-2.
Okay.
Definitely a 4.25. You know, um, and I think it's something to build on. I will say that, and I wish that there would have been a combination of last year's album and this year's album when he was able to, I guess have everybody looking. But I guess he has everybody looking again because we got that White Man Can't Jump coming. So, it's I think this could be a turning point. But somebody in the chat mentioned that Harlow can't take over a feature like Eminem can. Maybe that's the next thing he needs to prove that he can do is jump on some features with some MCs and show some versatility. Like the next album that we're going to be talking about, Armin, he showed a whole lot of versatility on this effort. Peter Parks of the Super Chat says the Jack Harlow album is an easy listening hip hop. It's easy listening hip hop. Yeah,
So,
it sounded really natural too.
what about this? Jay could have used some of these beats on 444. We'd probably feel different about it.
Yeah,
Could have used
yeah. I mean,
these
the,
records.
the beats were cool. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't sound dated or anything, even when he went the soulful route. But the only other MC that I guess has his fan base that I've heard attempt to rhyme over stuff like this at this level is Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? And when he said he was number two to Eminem, Mac Miller's the first person I thought of because I know people love Mac Miller. I love Mac Miller's music actually, and he put in a lot of work in this game. And for Jack to say something like that, it's like, okay, yeah, he really wants it. He skipped right over Mac.
Skipping over everybody.
Yeah, skipped over everybody. He's like, listen, people want it, come get it. And so
Want to pick a
again,
fight?
I love the competitiveness. I said the
Mm-hmm.
same thing when it comes to Drake and this Kendrick thing. I personally am more of a Kendrick fan than I am Drake. But if Drake is out here poking the bear and trying to be competitive, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to roll with the competitive guy. There's no way at this point that I could feel like Kendrick could beat Drake in a battle if, Drake keeps poking him and, is ready to rumble.
I'm gonna do my best to stay Kendrick free this show, Mike. What did we rate the Swiss Beats? The Hip Hop is 50 joint.
Hmm.
The Swizzle.
Swizzy. I think that's a good 3.5.
Hit Boy. The Hit Boy joint record. Surface
Did
Music.
we rate that a 4? I
No,
thought we
we
rated that
did.
on the night of.
We did.
Okay. Was it a
If we want
4?
to go back, if we want to go back and listen, we'll
Okay.
see how it holds.